So you may remember reading this book, Snowmen at Night. It was probably when you were back in first grade. It's one of my favorites. The song, if you watch the video on YouTube, it gets stuck in my head all the time. But I really love the artwork in this book, or the illustration. There are two things that I think the illustrator for this book does really well at. One is shading. I love the colors and how the artist shades, but I also like the perspective in this book. Look how giant the snowman is when he's up close to us, and how far the little ones are away from us. This artist does a great job showing distance or space. We can also tell that the snowman is leaning forward or coming towards us as the viewer. So if you haven't guessed, this week's lesson is all about perspective. So we're going to be looking up in our drawing, just like we're looking up at this picture of the trees now. Now, in our heads, we know that the trunk of this tree is roughly the same size from top to bottom. But because of our perspective, or the way that our brain sees things in space, the bottom of the trees look like they're huge, and the top of their trees look like they're needle points. And you can see they almost make triangle shapes as they get smaller and smaller and smaller as they get farther away from us. You may even notice that you can see lots of detail in the bark, close to the outside of the picture, and as you go closer towards the middle or farther away from the viewer, it's harder and harder to see the details of the trees. So in Sketches School, we're going to try and draw a snowman just like the snowmen we see in Snowmen at Night, except this time we're going to pretend that we're laying on the ground and looking up at the snowmen. We are starting out using the paint roller tool, because this will allow us to color the entire page all at one time. All you have to do is choose your blue color for the sky and then just tap it, and it'll fill in the whole page for you. Then we're going to switch to white paint, and actually the square paintbrush tool, and we're going to draw a little curve on the side of our picture, or the corner of our canvas. This will be the bottom of our snowman. Then we need to add a smaller curve on top of the first one we drew. I didn't like the shape of my first one, and I felt like it needed to be a little bit smaller, so I undid it and fixed it. Remember, these curves should get smaller and smaller as they get farther away from us. And we only need to draw one more curve for the head of our snowman. At this point, do not color in your snowman. I actually have a little cheat for you instead. We're going to use or click the smudge tool and actually smudge out only the bottom of the curve. You could also view this as the inside of the snowball. And as you smudge, you're going to notice that the top of the snow or the snowball is still white and the bottom is blue. Well, this is going to be our highlight and our shadow. You actually don't have to do anything more than this, and you can go ahead and move to the middle circle and do the same thing. Just make sure you don't smudge out the top or the outside of your snowball. You really want to keep that texture to show how fluffy the snow is. Now you can click on the pen tool and start decorating your snowman. I'm going to start by making a scarf, but I need to remember to make my scarf really thin and smaller because the snowman is so far away from me, or the head of the snowman is so far away from me. I'm also going to add a little hat, but I need to keep in mind that the bottom of the hat should be much bigger than the top. In order to draw a carrot nose, I'm going to draw a little cone shape right in the middle of his face. I drew a line first to mark the middle so I knew exactly where to draw the nose. Now it's time to just decorate the snowman. You can give him a smile or button eyes. It's completely up to you. Now he just needs some arms. So I'm going to draw some arms right in the middle of the second snowball, or some sticks for arms. Remember to keep the bottom bigger than the top. I'm going to make the top of the twigs really skinny to show that perspective. I'm also going to make these arms a little bit shorter than I normally would. You could stop here and turn this in, and I'd be very happy because you showed perspective. Or you can continue along with me and add shadows to our decorations. I'm just using the paint roller tool, a similar blue like the one we used for our sky, and then I'm just going to draw some shadow shapes at the bottom of the scarf, the bottom of the hat, and the bottom of the carrot nose. When you're finished, save your picture and turn it into Seesaw. You could make this into a great family Christmas card too, just saying.